what I do is I put one mark on one side and on the side that's going up against my beard. In other words, if I know that this mark is always against my beard, then I know this mark is always against my nose, or there's no mark here, but I know this part of the mask is always against my nose, and this is always outside, always facing the outside. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a mark. Very simple process. I'll just put a mark on the inside like that. And now I know that when I go to put this mask on, this part of the mask will always be facing me, and not only facing me, but against my beard. Or chin, if you don't have a beard. Okay, well, I want to make a video about a new mask that I found that is my go-to mask now. I made a video about how I made this mask, and then I made this mask in a similar manner about a month after I made this one. And the reason I made this is because after about a month of wearing this, I was concerned about hygiene. In one of my videos I show how I can feel confident that the coronavirus is eliminated from this mask by putting it in the oven at 170 degrees for 22 minutes. But that doesn't do anything about clearing away the waste left behind by bacteria or other microorganisms that might be breathed into the mask or fall upon the mask. So, in other words, there's no way for me to wash away any of the debris left behind by the microorganisms that this mask collects. So after about a month of disinfecting it with the oven, it wouldn't be very clean. So about a month after this is when I made this one. Same way that I made this one. I made this, only I used aquamarine terry cloth towel. But now I found these masks made by Hanes, which are washable and reusable. So I've been using these now for about 2 weeks. And it's a very straightforward, it's one size fits most. If they come out with a larger size, I will buy, these are a 10 pack. I've also seen 5 packs, but, or packs of 5. But the 10 pack was much more economical. And I think I've used about 3 of them so far. But there is one thing that I think is important to do with these masks, and that is to put a mark. So my workspace here that I usually work on has gotten quite cluttered, and so I'm going to work over here on this workspace for this video. Hopefully soon I'll get this clutter cleared up. But let's just work on that very clean workspace right there. Try to make sure I get my head in the picture. Okay. So this is a mask that I've been wearing that I wore for about 3 or 4 days. And it's got a mark on it. And I put that mark there for my own benefit. The reason I put that is because without the mark, let me show you one that doesn't have the mark. So this is a brand new one coming straight out of the box. Okay, so if it's got no mark on it, it's really hard to know which side used to be against your face. I should say one of the reasons that I can feel confident switching away from that style to this style that style stayed very comfortable for several hours per day. In other words, my work shift could be anywhere from 4 hours per day to 12 hours per day at my retail job, which I've since left. I left that retail job. So because I would be wearing that straight for 4 hours to 12 hours per day, that was an excellent design. Now that my workday doesn't involve that kind of wearing of a mask, in other words, with my current job, which I've been working for about 20 years, with that current job, this mask can sit in a cup holder for hours, and then I'll take it out and I'll wear it for minutes, and then it'll go back into the cup holder for maybe a half hour to an hour or several hours, and then for another couple minutes I'll put it back on again. Those masks were very comfortable for hours on end, whereas this is only comfortable for me for maybe as long as a half hour. So for my new situation, this is working very well. But if you've got a job where you have to work several hours with a mask on, I would still strongly suggest going to that other design, and I'll put a link right about here to my video where I made that style of mask. But that style of mask is going to be probably very hard to make because I haven't been able to find the skeleton for the mask. In other words, it's a basic dust mask around which I put a cloth, 100% cotton cloth. Those dust masks are now very hard to get hold of. Maybe online you might be able to, but I have not been able to find them at the Menards, any of the Menards stores that I've gone into looking for them. You might have to go online if you're looking to order the dust mask as a skeleton for that style of mask, which again was very comfortable for several hours of wearing time. These are very comfortable for up to about a half hour, I would say. Maybe they would be more comfortable if it wasn't a little bit too small for me, but these are a little bit too small for me. Again, this is one size fits most, and if I find that Hanes is offering them in a larger size, I will buy the larger size in addition to what I've already got here. But because there's no mark on these, it's really hard to make sure that what was facing outside continues to face outside when you go to put it on again. In other words, you would imagine that what's on the inside is what you've been breathing in and out, and chances are if you don't have the COVID, then the inside would be free of COVID, and the outside would be possibly having some COVID on it. Or if you do have the COVID, then it would be reversed, whereas the inside would have COVID on it, and the outside would be most likely free of COVID. And you don't want it to be where you're flipping it every time that you put it on. And the way to know that you're not flipping it every time that you put it on is to put a mark on one side. Now, what I do is I put one mark on one side and on the side that's going up against my beard. In other words, if I know that this mark is always against my beard, then I know this mark is always against my nose, or there's no mark here, but I know this part of the mask is always against my nose, and this is always outside, always facing the outside. So I'll go ahead and I'll put a mark. Very simple process. I'll just put a mark on the inside like that, and now I know that when I go to put this mask on, this part of the mask will always be facing me, and not only facing me but against my beard, or chin if you don't have a beard. just a strong suggestion that I have. Again, I find that these masks are working very well for me. But again, that's only because I've left my retail job. If I was still working at the retail job, I would be making more of those masks. I still have about 4 or 5 of the skeletons, and I would not let those skeletons go, because I never know if I'm going to have another job where I would need that style of mask. So if you're thinking that I'd be willing to sell them, I'm not. But these masks are working very well when I only have to wear them for several minutes per day. And they're made by Hanes. I'll try to put a link. I think I'll be able to put a link on where you can find these masks. Okay, well, I just listened to my video, and it's clear to me that I am going to have to run it through my editing software so that I can boost the audio volume on this video. There was one thing that I forgot to mention. So since I have to run it through my editing video editing software anyhow, I'm going to add this. When I put the mark down at the bottom, or at one side, these masks have a design to them where there's these little pouches. There's a pouch here, and a pouch here, and a pouch here, and a pouch here. And if you were to wear it with the pouches facing this direction, and somebody were to be talking to you and the droplets of moisture came out of their mouth and fell into these little pockets, they would stay longer than if the mask was in this orientation. If the mask was in this orientation, the little droplets of virus-carrying saliva would fall where there is no pocket and would be more likely to leave the mask. You know, gravity might help it fall down as opposed to collecting within the pocket. So when I put my marks, I tend to put them so that the part that's touching my chin is going to create upside down pockets so that there's no likelihood of pockets collecting moisture. I hope that makes sense to you. I feel better now that I've said it, and now I'll just have to splice these two video segments together, and then I can boost up the volume so that you can hear what I'm saying. That's it. Bye.